Welcome to this video on research process, which forms a part of research methodology. And this research process is again important part which we have to follow as a stepwise procedure in order to come out with an effective research output. So let us see the steps involved in the research process. Here there is a very neat diagram, flow chart, which depicts about the stages in the research process. And here if you see, you can see stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there are 7 different stages which has to be undergone, and once the stages are completed, you have a loop of feedback as well as feed forward, F and FF also. So let us discuss each of these stages. So once you want to start with the work of your research, the foremost important thing as part of your first stage is concerned, we have to define the research problem properly. So the word define itself tells you state your research problem in simple and clear terms, which is easily understandable by any person who reads your process. Right. So define the research problem, understand the research problem properly before entering into your process of research. So once you have defined and once you have understood your area of research, next stage is said to be stage 2. You have to work out with the understanding of the concepts and theories which are involved in this particular part of your research. And next one is you have to go in search of previous findings related to your research work. So this is said to be your review of your literature. So collect your concepts, collect your theories, have a better understanding of your concepts and theories before entering into your job of research. Have the findings mentioned clearly, stage wise or year wise, each person's what they have done in this particular topic of research, what is the outcome of their work, and what they have identified. So, after collecting all this, we would have a much more better idea of in which direction are we moving into the topic of our problem, and we'll have a better idea what is that I am going to actually do and study in this part of research. Okay, next one is formulate your hypothesis, make your assumptions. Okay, so am I going to give yes or no to my assumptions, and how do you want those yes and no to be proved? So formulate your hypothesis. Next stage is said to be design your sample and select your research design. So research design is generally of 3 categories. You know, experimental, you have your exploratory and descriptive. So which category of research design are your research is into? So explain that, identify that, then select your sample design using your method of sampling. And after selecting your sample design, you can start collecting your data, because in your sample design you would have identified your target group, right? So after identifying the target group, you can collect the data from your target group with the help of different data collection tools. Okay, it is based on how you have your design, how you have your sampling, and based on that you design your data collection tools. Start collecting your data with the target area or the group which you have selected in your sample design based on the sample size and the method of sampling. Next one is after data collection, you go for coding, you go for editing, you go for tabulation, and you go for your analysis. In your analysis part, you have to test and see the hypothesis which you have framed is right or wrong. If it is right, in what sense, with what variables, with what acceptance, it has proved you right. If it is not, with what acceptance, you are going to say it is proved to be false. So, test your hypothesis. Once you have finished testing your hypothesis, go for your interpretation. And once you finish your interpretation, you go for your final report, writing and submission. Okay, so these are the different stages involved in your research process. Suppose you feel there is an error at any of the stage, you can go for a feed forward process, see where the error is required or how you can rectify it. Suppose if it is right, you can go for the feedback, Go to the main step first. See that the output has given a solution to the problem which you have identified in your first stage. If it is so, then your research is complete and it is successful. If the output does not give a solution to the problem which is defined at the starting stage, then at any of the stages might require any alterations. We have to identify where we have went wrong or what kind of correction is required, and then we have to make the required corrections at the particular stage. Okay, so these 7 stages are said to be very much important in your process of your research work. So, your research work process steps consist of formulating the research problem, extensive literature survey, developing of your working hypothesis, preparing your research design, determining your sample design, collecting your data. After collecting, you go for coding, editing, coding, tabulating, and then you go for hypothesis testing. Then you come with your interpretations, generalization of your interpretations, discussion with your earlier outputs that you have collected in your literature review, and then finally you go for your report preparation. This is the part of your research process. Fine. I hope so. With a very crisp set of steps, I was able to give you the best explanation of what is research process. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.